get one from mom and one from dad. So there's many combinations of this. These are the people who do really well on a ketogenic type diet, very high in fat.
They may feel well, but that's not what their labs are showing, which is, I think, really important because people get really... Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopathic Dr. Fiona Chin, co-founder of the Kidney Disease Solution and Kaigenesis, and I am joined again today by the wonderful Dr. Ellie Campbell. So let's dive into the 5 genes that you see have a huge impact on the potential increased risk of things like kidney disease and chronic disease.
Right. The next gene is called the Apolipoprotein gene. And I think many people are aware of this, but what we're learning now is that there's really, there's 3 genes that we're concerned about, and you get one from mom and one from dad. So there's many combinations of this. The APOE22s are the lucky ones. That's about 11% of the population. But they are actually at a decreased risk compared to average of developing Alzheimer's, coronary disease, or heart attack. So those guys are lucky. Also, their genetics allow them to tolerate and do better on a very high-fat diet. The APOE2 patients often should consume about 35% of their calories from fat. That's in the studies that have been done, that shows their best outcomes. So these are the people who do really well on a ketogenic type diet, very high in fat. On the other hand, the APOE44s, who are about 25% of the population, they do not do well in general on a ketogenic diet. It should be managed very carefully by someone who has extreme experience in APOE genetics, oxidative stress and inflammation numbers, to be certain that they can tolerate these diets if they're choosing to eat this way. And it's been hard for me to tell some patients who feel fantastic on a ketogenic diet that their brains are on fire and they're dropping weight and they have all the energy in the world. But I look at their laboratory data and their LDL cholesterol doubled, and their inflammation went up, and their C-reactive protein is higher, and I see all this serum evidence in their blood work of tragedies about to happen. So I have to tell them, please stop this diet. This is not good for you. And they're like, but I feel so well on it. Please don't take it away from me. You've come to me for my advice, and this is my advice. Right. So it's hard.
Yeah, especially when doing well. That's a good distinction to make, that even though you might feel really well on the ketogenic diet, you're seeing lab results showing increased cytokines and inflammation. So they may feel well, but that's not what their labs are showing, which is, I think, really important because people get really tied up into how they feel, right?
Right. So I think this is why working with a practitioner is important. And I don't think that ketogenic diet should be a DIY project. I really believe that you should be working closely hand in hand with a nutritionist and or a naturopathic physician and or a medical doctor who can run these laboratory tests and knows how to interpret them. Now, most of us are a 3-3 type genotype, and that's about 64% of the population, and we should have about 25% fat in our diet. There is some evidence as well that exercise affects your APOE gene differently. And the people with I'm not going to remember this right, so let me look here. People who exercise who have the APOE 3-3 benefited from exercising before the meal, but to a lesser extent than people with the 2-3 genotype. And those who were the 4-4 didn't really get exercise benefit in their cholesterol. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't exercise, of course. It's just that it doesn't benefit you in the same way regarding cholesterol when you're a 4-4 as it does for some of the other genotypes. There is some evidence as well that the APOE 4-4s are at the highest risk for the development of Alzheimer's disease and coronary disease do not do well with alcohol. And we recommend teetotaling for the APOE 4-4s. And that's a hard sell. But that's what we recommend because their alcohol dehydrogenase enzymes just do not work very well, and they get much more damage to their cells than than the other genotypes. So, Alzheimer's disease has many of the same triggers as cardiovascular disease, and oxidative stress is one of those. And if you're an APOE4 type, too much fat and any alcohol drive oxidative stress, and they take it out on your brain cells. So,
yeah. So you want to be a 2-2, don't you?
You do want to be a 2-2, but you don't get to choose your parents. So, but you should, in my opinion, know your genotype. I happen to be a 3-3. That's the most common. So I can have a glass of wine now and again if I choose. I can have a moderate fat diet, 25% fat, and I can live my life pretty standard without having to make big sacrifices like some of these other genotypes need to.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Remember to hit subscribe and click like. That helps all our Google, our YouTube algorithms. If you want to know more about what we do, head to www.kidneycoach.com. Thanks for being part of our audience. Thank you for being proactive with your health. And Dr. Campbell, thanks again. Talk to you next time.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye now.